A frantic call to 911. A father's voice, trembling with urgency. His 4-year-old son is missing. Disappeared from his home in the middle of the night. No signs of forced entry. No witnesses. No cries for help. Just, gone. Police arrive. They search the house. The neighborhood. The woods. But something isn't adding up. The father's story changes, just slightly at first. Little inconsistencies. Small cracks. But then, those cracks widen. And soon, investigators begin to suspect something unthinkable. Because what if I told you, that little Cody Bigsby had likely been dead for months before anyone even realized he was missing? No ransom note. No proof of an abduction. No signs of struggle. Just a father who seemed oddly calm. Too calm. And when detectives began peeling back the layers of his story, they uncovered something far darker than anyone could have imagined. Security footage from a local Walmart, Corey Bigsby, alone. But what about his children? A car dealership camera, Corey again, with only one child. His 3 youngest? Home alone. 4 hours. Interviews with family paint a troubling picture. A father who described his kids as too much of a handful. A man who admitted, without hesitation, that he often left his children alone, asleep, while he ran errands. 6 hours at a time. No babysitter. No concern. And when one of his children was injured, he never sought medical help. But if this was neglect, why did police suspect something even worse? What did they find inside that house that made them so certain that little Cody wasn't just missing, but gone forever? Stay with me, because tonight, we unravel the case of Cody Bigsby, the child who vanished without a trace. The father who couldn't keep his story straight. And the mystery that still haunts investigators to this day. You won't believe the twists that lie ahead. Before he became the center of a heartbreaking investigation, before his name was whispered in hushed conversations across Hampton, Virginia, Cody Bigsby was just a little boy. A child full of energy, with a smile that could light up a room. He loved running, playing, and being a kid. A future ahead of him, one that should have been filled with laughter, learning, and love. But all of that was stolen from him. One day, he was here. And the next, he was gone. Cody lived with his father, Corey Bigsby, a military veteran, a man described by some as strict, by others as detached. He had full custody of Cody and his siblings. But what about their mother? Where was Dina Abdul Karim? Dina was no longer in the picture. Their relationship had ended, and with it, custody of the children had remained with Corey. While details about their past are limited, one thing is certain: Dina did not have Cody in her care at the time of his disappearance. And according to her, she hadn't seen him for months. Hampton, Virginia. A coastal city known for its history, its community, its peaceful neighborhoods. But in January of 2022, that peace was shattered. A missing child case gripped the town, turning quiet streets into a flurry of search teams, news vans, and growing suspicion. Cody lived in a townhouse in Buckrow, a place that should have been safe. A home that should have protected him. But when police stepped inside, they found nothing to suggest that Cody had been there at all. No packed bags. No signs of an abduction. No trace of a child who had supposedly just vanished. So, what really happened inside that home? Where was Cody? And why did his father seem more concerned with defending himself than finding his missing son? As the search intensified, so did the questions. And soon, those questions turned into accusations. January 31st, 2022. 9:06 a.m. A man calls 911. His voice is calm, too calm. No panic, no urgency. Just a simple statement that sends shockwaves through the community. My son is missing. He says his 4-year-old son, Cody Bigsby, disappeared overnight. Claims he last saw him at 2 a.m., sleeping in their home, but now, he's gone. No forced entry. No signs of a break-in. Just vanished. But something doesn't add up. As investigators begin to dig deeper, they uncover a horrifying truth, one that changes everything. Within hours, police arrive at the Buckrow Point townhome where Corey lives with his 4 young children. Officers fan out across the area, calling Cody's name. Helicopters take to the sky. Search dogs sniff through every inch of the neighborhood. But no sign of the little boy. Neighbors are questioned. No one saw him leave. No one saw anything suspicious. The panic in the community grows. A missing child, alone, in the cold, with no explanation. But as the search intensifies, so do the suspicions. Corey tells police he last saw Cody at 2 a.m. But when officers press him for more details, his story starts to shift. First, he says he woke up in the morning and realized Cody was missing. Then, he says maybe he had been gone since earlier that night. The inconsistencies raise immediate red flags. Investigators begin to piece together a timeline. They check surveillance footage from the surrounding area. If Cody had wandered off, wouldn't there be a trail? Footprints? Video evidence? Witnesses? But then, investigators make a chilling discovery. Not only is there no sign of Cody, but outside, in the dirt, in the snow-covered ground near the home, there are no tiny footprints. No tracks. No evidence that Cody ever left that apartment at all. Which means, if Cody didn't walk out of that apartment on his own, someone took him. As the hours turn into days, something unsettling begins to take shape. Police officers, search teams, and volunteers comb through every inch of Hampton, Virginia, desperate to find any trace of Cody Bigsby. But there's nothing. No witnesses saw him. No security footage captured him. No footprints. No sign of forced entry. It's as if the 4-year-old boy never existed outside of his father's story. And that's when investigators come to a grim realization. Maybe Cody wasn't missing. Maybe he had been gone for much longer than anyone knew. And the only person with answers? Cody's own father, Corey Bigsby. Corey's behavior under questioning raises immediate red flags. As police focus their attention on Corey, Cody's mother, Dina Abdul Karim, is left in anguish. She hadn't seen her son in months. And now, she fears the worst. Dina Abdul Karim, recreated voice: I put my kids in the hands of a sociopath. And now my baby is gone. Dina had left her children in Corey's care, never imagining that one day, she'd be pleading for answers about their whereabouts. Meanwhile, the community refuses to give up. Neighbors, volunteers, and strangers band together, forming search parties, combing through woods, rivers, and abandoned buildings, anywhere a small child could be. But as the days stretch into weeks, hope begins to wane. Cody isn't found. And deep down, many fear what they don't want to say aloud. Maybe Cody isn't out there waiting to be found. As investigators dig deeper into Corey Bigsby's past, a disturbing pattern begins to emerge. This isn't the first time he has shown a shocking disregard for his children's safety. Surveillance footage surfaces: Corey, casually shopping at a Walmart. Bags in hand, taking his time. But where were his children? Home. Alone. 4 hours. Police reports show that Corey had a history of leaving his kids unattended. Multiple times. Once for 6 hours. Another time, for even longer. Corey's justification? He said they were fine. That they were used to it. But the reality was far more chilling. If he could abandon his young children for hours, without a second thought, what else was he capable of? What had really happened to Cody? For days, police had pressed Corey Bigsby for answers. They had searched his home, combed through his past, and confronted him with inconsistencies in his story. But the one thing they still didn't have was Cody. And then, on February 3, 2022, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. Corey Bigsby is arrested. But not for murder. Not yet. Instead, he faces 7 counts of felony child neglect, a charge that, while serious, still leaves one chilling question unanswered: where is Cody? As police escort Corey out of the station in handcuffs, cameras flash. Reporters shout over one another. The world watches, waiting for a sign of remorse, a crack in his expression, anything to indicate that this father is grieving the loss of his son. But Corey? He's expressionless. Silent. As if the whole thing is just an inconvenience. We are confident that we are moving in the right direction with this investigation. Our focus remains on finding Cody. Chief of Police Mark Talbot said. Despite his arrest, police still can't charge Corey with murder. There's just one problem: without a body, proving a homicide in court becomes significantly harder. And Corey knows it. For months, Corey Bigsby sits behind bars, awaiting trial. His defense team wastes no time constructing their argument, an argument that would shock even the most hardened detectives. Their claim? That Corey was simply too dumb to have pulled this off. Corey defense attorney said, "The prosecution wants you to believe that my client orchestrated a murder and cover-up so intricate that police still have not found a body. But let's be honest here, does Corey Bigsby seem like a criminal mastermind?" The defense paints Corey as a mild-mannered father, incapable of harming his child, let alone disposing of a body in a way that has left investigators empty-handed for over a year. "My brother loved his kids. He's not some monster. He's just a regular guy caught in a terrible situation," Corey's sister said. But not everyone in the courtroom believes this version of events. And when it's Dina Abdul Karim's turn to take the stand, her words cut through the defense's narrative like a knife. Dina Abdul Karim, recreated voice: "He had full control over Cody's life. He made sure I couldn't see my son. And now, my baby is gone." Her voice trembles with rage and grief. She looks directly at Corey, sitting just feet away, and demands the truth. Dina Abdul Karim continues, "Where is Cody, Corey? Just tell me where he is." But Corey? He doesn't flinch. He doesn't cry. He doesn't even look at her. Instead, he does something even more chilling: he smirks. And at that moment, Dina knows. The jury knows. Everyone watching knows. Corey Bigsby is a guilty man. After hours of deliberation, the jury reaches a verdict. And soon, Corey Bigsby, once just another father, now a name forever linked to tragedy, stands before the judge, awaiting his fate. Judge, recreated voice: "Mr. Bigsby, you had a duty to love, protect, and care for your child. Instead, you took his life with your own hands, and you never sought help. You never shed a tear. And worst of all, you have refused to tell the world where your son is. For this, you will spend the rest of your life behind bars." But for Dina Abdul Karim, a life sentence isn't enough. As Corey is led out of the courtroom for the last time, she stands, her voice filled with fury, and delivers one final, haunting message. Dina Abdul Karim said, "I pray Cody haunts you for eternity." Even with Corey Bigsby behind bars, one question still lingers, tormenting a grieving mother, a devastated community, and investigators who refuse to give up. Where is Cody Bigsby? If you or anyone you know has any information about his whereabouts, contact the authorities immediately. Cody deserves to be found. He deserves justice. And if you believe that stories like these need to be told, to keep the voices of the lost alive, consider subscribing to this channel. Because the truth always finds a way to the surface. And sometimes, justice isn't just about putting someone behind bars. It's about bringing the lost home. For months, Corey Bigsby has sat in a jail cell. Unmoved. Unshaken. Silent. Investigators have pressed him. His own family has pleaded with him. His attorney has advised him. But no matter the question, his answer is always the same: "I don't know where Cody is." And then, something unexpected happens. A letter. A jailhouse letter appears. Written in Corey's own hand. And what it says is so disturbing, so bizarre, that even his own defense team doesn't know what to make of it. Corey's jailhouse letter, what did it say? At first, Corey's lawyers deny the letter is a confession. They call it rambling, nonsensical. They say it proves nothing. But here's what we do know about what's inside. The letter is written in erratic, almost paranoid handwriting. Some sentences contradict themselves. Others don't make sense at all. But hidden between the disjointed thoughts are fragments of something chilling. He wasn't supposed to be there. I told them to take him, but they didn't listen. She thinks she knows, but she has no idea. I didn't bury him. He's gone, but I didn't bury him. Gone, but not buried. If that's not a confession, then what is it? But who is he talking about? Who was supposed to take him? Is he speaking in code? Is he taunting investigators? Or is this letter the first, horrifying clue to what really happened to Cody? One thing is clear, Corey Bigsby knows exactly where his son is. But he's taking that secret to his grave. The body is still missing. And that brings us to the most painful part of this case. The part that keeps a grieving mother awake at night. The part that haunts an entire community. Cody Bigsby is still missing. Investigators have searched the townhome, the backyard, nearby parks, even landfills. But there is no trace of Cody. Not a single bone. Not a single piece of clothing. Not a single clue. And the biggest question still lingers, where is Cody Bigsby? Some believe his body was discarded in a dumpster, lost forever in a landfill. Others believe he was hidden somewhere more remote, a place no one would ever think to look. And then, there are the theories that go even deeper. That Cody was given away. That he was trafficked. That someone, somewhere, still knows more than they're saying. And perhaps the most chilling theory of all? That Corey Bigsby never planned to let the world find out the truth. But even as the case fades from headlines, one thing remains. Cody is not forgotten. To this day, search groups continue to look for him. They comb through abandoned buildings, wooded areas, and bodies of water, anywhere he could be. The Justice for Cody movement still fights. His name is still spoken. His mother still pleads for answers. And so the search continues. The fight continues. Because this isn't just about justice anymore, it's about finding Cody. Do you believe justice was served? Did Corey Bigsby act alone? Or is there more to this case than we've been told? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Because sometimes, justice doesn't come from a courtroom, it comes from the voices that refuse to stay silent. And before you go, if you love deep dive crime cases, if you believe these stories need to be told, then hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the truth is out there. And together, we won't stop searching for it.